Okay, before we even get started, I want you to take a quick sec and just mentally picture your current team at work. Think about the daily friction, those big collaborative wins, and how wildly different everyone's approach was to your last group project. Have you ever wondered why the workplace feels like this giant, complicated puzzle of completely different behaviors? Well, today we are skipping the superficial stuff and diving straight into the hidden organizational personality traits that actually dictate how you, your colleagues, and your bosses operate every single day.
So ask yourself, why do some people absolutely crush it at work while others, who seem just as smart, hit a brick wall? Imagine two employees, let's call them Sarah and John. They went to the exact same college, got hired on the exact same day, and on paper, their technical skills are identical. You've got these two people sitting right next to each other with the exact same resources, yet Sarah is out there flourishing and leading huge initiatives. And John's totally stagnating and completely overwhelmed. You know, the answer here isn't about raw intelligence. It's almost always about these specific underlying personality traits that completely dictate how we process stress, deal with ambiguity, and handle office dynamics.
Now, we've all taken those standard personality quizzes, right? The Big Five, Myers-Briggs, and hey, they're great for general self-discovery, but when it comes to a real-world managerial context, they kind of fall short because they're just too broad. Managers and organizational psychologists actually rely on a totally different set of specialized traits to figure out workplace behavior and put people in the right roles. These traits are specifically tailored to the pressure cooker environment of a modern office. We're talking about how you respond to deadlines, authority, and high-stakes decisions. So we're going way beyond the usual tests today to see what really makes organizations tick.
All right, first up, believing in your own value.
This first concept is called core self-evaluation, or CSE, and it's literally the baseline for your entire professional life. It basically comes down to how much you like yourself, and more importantly, how you perceive your own competence and worth. So be honest with yourself for a second. When you walk into the office, how much do you truly believe in your own abilities? Picture someone with a high CSE walking into a massive pitch meeting. Their internal monologue is basically, I know my stuff and I own this room. Now contrast that with someone with a low CSE. They might feel absolute panic and imposter syndrome just from getting a vague, can we chat message from their boss.
That internal voice, it is absolutely crucial because it dictates real-world outcomes. Having a positive CSE acts like this incredible psychological armor. Let's say your whole department is restructuring and suddenly your workload doubles. Someone with a strong CSE doesn't immediately spiral into burnout. They have this deep-seated resilience. They're not just happier, they literally perform better under stress. Why? Because they don't see a crazy, ambiguous workload as a threat. They see it as the perfect chance to show off the skills they already know they have.
Moving on to number 2, adapting to the room.
Read the room. We hear it all the time, right? Think of that one super charismatic colleague you work with. You know the one. You'll see them joking around with the marketing team in the break room, totally relaxed, using casual slang. And then, literally 5 minutes later, they step into a boardroom and boom, they are hyper serious, stiff, and all about the data with the executive team. That ability to just effortlessly switch gears, changing their tone, their posture, their whole vibe without missing a beat. That is the textbook definition of what psychologists call self-monitoring.
High self-monitors are basically the ultimate workplace adapters. They conform perfectly to social expectations, and because they are so insanely good at reading subtle cues, they often make incredibly effective leaders. But there is a catch. Because they're so good at adjusting their behavior to fit the situation, observant coworkers can sometimes view them as inauthentic. Some people might even call them chameleons. It makes you wonder, who the real person is underneath all that adapting, which adds a really fascinating layer to how much they're actually trusted by their team.
All right, number 3, taking leaps under uncertainty.
What makes a true risk taker? Well, it essentially boils down to a massive imbalance. Their willingness to make lightning-fast decisions totally outweighs the amount of hard information they actually need to pull the trigger. Imagine your company is launching a huge new software feature, but the research team says they've only completed about 20% of the market analysis. Does that completely thrill you, or does it make you want to hide under your desk? Your gut reaction tells you exactly who you are. A high risk taker absolutely thrives in that 80% of the unknown. They'll trust their gut over endless spreadsheets any day of the week if time is of the essence.
But here's the major takeaway for managers. Taking huge leaps isn't universally good or bad. It's all about placing that specific trait in the right role. Think about how disastrous it would be to put a massive risk taker in charge of your compliance or accounting department. No way. In those jobs, one missing data point means a lawsuit. Precision is literally everything. But flip that around. If you're trying to expand into a brand new, untested international market, a highly cautious, data-obsessed manager is going to completely paralyze your progress. In that case, you absolutely need a bold risk-taker leading the charge just to survive.
Okay, number 4, the drive for achievement.
This is probably the most famous workplace divide. Let's do a quick self-audit here. Think about your desk right now. Is it covered in color-coded sticky notes, with 3 monitors glaring at you while you frantically type an email and listen to a conference call? That is your classic Type A. Highly competitive, a little impatient, and a chronic multitasker. Or is your desk completely clear? Do you patiently just do one single task from start to finish before even looking at the next one? That's Type B. Fundamentally more relaxed, super patient, and not consumed by this burning need to constantly achieve more in less time.
Now, if we dig into that Type A personality, you find this intense obsession with measurable achievement. And sure, that fierce competitive drive is exactly what you want in a cutthroat sales or finance role. But actually, there's a huge downside. It's the illusion of productivity. By constantly trying to cram more work into less time, juggling 5 things at once, Type A behavior can actually wreck the quality of the work. When you move at breakneck speed, you miss the fine print. A lot of times, the obsession with just crossing things off a list results in a really sloppy final product, which, ironically, the patient Type B people then have to go back and fix.
And finally, number 5, creating your own opportunities.
This is what separates the people who wait around to be told what to do from the people who actually blaze their own trail, the proactive personality. Let's look at how this plays out in real life with 4 distinct steps. Say you notice a huge recurring bug in your company's billing software. Step 1, you don't just complain to your coworkers, you see it as an opportunity. Step 2, you show initiative by actually researching better software during your lunch break. Step 3, you take action, you draft a pitch and present it to your boss. And step 4, you persevere. You fight through the budget pushback until that new software is installed and running.
Proactive people are the absolute engines of an organization. They don't just dump a problem on their boss's desk and wait to be saved. They start building the solution on day 1. And this is exactly why when a company hits a crisis or the economy takes a downturn, proactive employees are virtually irreplaceable. While everyone else is frozen by uncertainty, they're out there building bridges, stepping up into leadership roles, and driving the innovation that actually keeps the lights on. They don't let circumstances dictate their fate. They create their own.
So we have covered some incredible ground today. We've mapped out how you evaluate your own worth, how you read a room, how you handle risk, your drive to achieve, and how you create opportunities. As you think about your own habits and your personal style at work, ask yourself, which of these hidden traits are you already using every day? And more importantly, which one are you going to consciously tap into to unlock your full potential tomorrow?